right now I'm sat in my son's bedroom because it's the only room I can get good Wi-Fi. I've got a drum kit behind me here. I've got piles of clothes of a teenage boy all around me.
I thought I'd never say this, but I miss Heathrow Terminal 5. I can't wait to get back there, actually.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this Ask a Leader video. It's been a really odd year, the last year. When I reflect back on what happened in March 2020, nobody would have believed then that a year later we'd all still be working remotely. So it's been a very unusual year, and we thought it'd be a good idea to just ask some of the leadership team for their reflections on that year. So today I'm going to be talking to Helena, Owen, Julian and David, and asking them about their experiences of the last year and what it's meant for Endava. So I hope you enjoy the video. So I'm going to be asking the other members of the leadership team some questions in the rest of this video, but I wanted to ask myself the same kind of questions I was asking them. And for me, when I reflect back on the last year, I was amazed by how quickly we responded with how little disruption to our services to our clients back in March last year. It was amazing that we went from being primarily an office-based business to, within the space of a week, one that was almost entirely remote, and yet continue to deliver to our clients. And over the last year, I'm lucky enough to speak to quite a wide range of our clients, and many of them have come to me and said how grateful they were and how pleased they were that Endava staff and Endava teams, carried on delivering, carried on growing, carried on, just carrying on. And that was a real testament to the culture of Endava. And I think that's absolutely right. The question I get asked the most is about when are we going to return to the office? What's going to happen after the pandemic? And there's a lot of work going on about that very topic. And David Churchill and the people team are coming up with a plan to share with everybody about what that looks like for us. But for me, community is an important part of Endava. So I think our offices in all of our locations will remain very important for us. And our community is a place where people come together to form new teams, to workshop, come up with ideas. And I think that will remain true. But I also think that the world of work has changed substantially, and that remote working from home will be an important part of people's work week as well for many people. Hi, Owen. The pandemic and remote working is, I guess, in some ways completely changed the way Endava works. Can you tell us a bit about that and how you found the changes to the way Endava operates?
Yes, thanks, Rob. Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it? We thought we were a highly distributed company before all this happened. We thought we could work from anywhere, and we sort of could. We transferred within, I think it was 24 hours, wasn't it, to being a remote working company. A huge achievement. I mean, thank goodness for all that, investment and time we've put into making ourselves distributed. But in reality, we then found there was all kinds of things that we used to travel around for. Big workshops, client planning, discovery phases. And we've just had to learn new ways of doing things. And, our delivery managers, our agile coaches, our teams, our project managers, our UX specialists, they've all had to learn new skills, new tools, new ways of dealing with people in difficult situations. And thank you to all of them. They've been adaptable, they've been creative, they've been fantastic at adapting to a really difficult situation. I know that an awful lot of our managers at all levels have had to work really, really hard to build cohesive teams, help new people into Endava, help our younger colleagues continue to learn our culture and continue to develop as great Endava professionals. And thank you to all of them as well. I know that's been a lot of hard work.
And I guess on a personal level, it's to change the way you operate as well, because you've probably travelled around as much as any of us. So how's the last year been for you?
Yes, it's been a bit strange, really, because when I joined the company, I told John I'd get to every delivery unit every year, and that's getting harder and harder, of course. We have more and more sites now. But yes, it's suddenly gone from, I did go to many of our sites at least once a year, and then I couldn't travel at all. So in my team in tech, we've always been distributed. We have people scattered at the moment across Europe, and we will be in other continents, hopefully soon as well. So we were used to that, but losing the immediacy, losing all of the direct kind of interaction with people who I've got to know very well in our DUs, and also missing out on the excitement of talking to all of our new staff, it's been a big miss. I've also, my study's right beside my 15-year-old daughter's bedroom, where that's where her desk is, and when she's been homeschooling, I've been able to pop in and out and see her, and that's been a positive. Whether she thinks that's been a positive, I think you'd have to ask her. I think she might have a different view of that. But I'm very lucky in the way it's panned out for me. On the other hand, I can't wait to come back and see everybody.
Yeah, likewise, and I guess it's probably been over a year since we last met face to face.
I think it has.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks, Owen. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Hi, Helena. So working from home has been a huge shift for our IT systems and processes. How's the last year gone for internal tech?
Now, that is a really, really good question, Rob, and thank you for asking that one. So when the pandemic started, 80% of office-based workers basically moved to home working, alongside all of their children who started homeschooling. So it put an awful pressure on our global infrastructure and the computing power. And I'm not just talking about Endava, I'm talking about everything we have on our planet. Now, internally, Endava has managed really well. There's been no significant outages. We managed to pivot everybody to home working within a space of a week, and we managed to stay effective. So Endava did really, really well, and globally, the infrastructure has held up really well as well.
Yeah, it certainly has. So I think before the pandemic, many of our clients relied on our offices and our physical security to an extent, and now we're all remote. That's all changed. What's your thinking about IT security during the pandemic and afterwards?
So I think there's two overriding themes that are coming out of the pandemic and security. First of all, as everybody's moved virtual, that means that crime has become much more virtual as well. It's always been there, but the numbers of virtual crime are now much, much higher than they have been. The focus is also now more individual, more personal. So the security is more around you as a user. Doesn't matter, are you using work equipment or are you using your own personal equipment? It's more around your personal cyber security. And I think that's one of the biggest shifts we're seeing, moving from the office to the individual.
Yeah. So I guess on a personal level, what's your daily life been like, and how's it been affected in the last year by working from home?
Well, just like everybody else, there has been obviously good days and there has been bad days. There are challenges. When you have your family there 24/7, you don't have that personal space that you might have had when you're commuting, for example. So that's been eroded. And there is definitely something I've noticed: the fridge is always empty. The children are like gannets; they come and eat everything up. So, but there's very little I can do about the fridge. What I can do and have done is been focusing on creating some alone time, usually outdoors. I like being outside. So gardening, exercising, always trying to get out regardless on what the weather is doing.
Well, thanks for making some time for us today, Helena, and talk to you soon.
Thank you. Speak with you soon again.
Hi, Julian. Thanks for making some time today. So the last 12 months have been really unusual for us and our clients. How has your team adapted to this new environment?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think first and foremost, the sales team, the business development managers are sort of used to working away from the office, whether it being on the road or airport lounges or hotels. So I think although everybody's found it difficult, I think they've probably adapted quickest. The marketing and demand team have done a great job from sort of pivoting very quickly to more sort of physical away from more sort of physical events to virtual events and virtually client engagement. And I think the guys and girls I've been most impressed with is our lead generation team. A lot of them have not even stepped inside an Endava office before, let alone met an Endava person. So they have been working from home from day one, and it never ceases to amaze me how resourceful and resilient these guys, and in fact the whole team, have been throughout this period. I think one of the things that we put into place as well very quickly was making sure that we as a team stayed in contact as much as we possibly could, and we did that through bi-weekly virtual all hands meetings where we get everybody on a call, lots of sort of individual sessions with the individual teams virtually, and making sure that there are plenty of virtual social events going on a regular basis, just giving people time to just relax, not talk about work, but just catch up with each other and have a drink with each other and make sure everybody's doing okay.
From a sales perspective, what do you think will change post-pandemic?
So I think from a sales perspective, we were seeing signs that the sales process, or particularly the beginning of the sales process, was becoming more and more digital. So people were doing a lot more of their research or the early part of the selection process for a vendor online. So that change, I believe, was always inevitable. I think what the pandemic has done has really accelerated this change because of the situation everybody finds themselves in. So I think now we are going to be seeing, and we're starting to see this already, a lot of our potential clients out there doing a lot more research online about Endava before they actually engage with a human being as such. And what that means for us is making sure that we have got the right digital experience and building the right customer journeys so we can have the information in the right place at the right time for when those buyers need it. So I think that's going to be the big change that's going to hit us, and it's something that we're working on at the moment to make sure that we're set up to adapt to that change.
So final question then, Julian, how has the last year been for you? How have you coped with the lockdown personally?
So I never ever thought I'd say this, but I really miss Heathrow Terminal 5. So I spent a lot of time travelling. So to go from that level of travelling to nothing overnight was a big change for me. I think lockdown 1 was a lot easier because it was a novelty being at home so much. The sun was out, it was lovely weather, so it was a lot easier. I think as time has gone on, it's got harder. I think being in one room, in one place all the time is tough. And I think you can very quickly fall into the trap of being in back-to-back meetings, just clicking from meeting to meeting. And one of the things I learned very quickly, and I've made sure I've remained very disciplined about, is making sure that I put breaks in between my meetings, and at least twice a day, even if it's just getting up out of my seat and taking a walk around my local neighbourhood just to get some fresh air and get away from the screen. I think that's for me probably the most helpful thing that's happened during this pandemic. But it's it's been interesting, but I can't wait for it to go back to normal. I can't wait to get back in an office and and see all of my Endava colleagues again, because that's something I've missed hugely over this last year.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, and talk again soon.
You're very welcome. Take care. Bye.
Hi, David. Thanks for joining us. Hi, thanks for joining us today. So a lot's changed in the delivery units over the last year. What have been the things that you have been most encouraged by?
I'd say the most encouraging sign for me, though, is the fact that we have not stopped growing. In fact, it's dramatically increased. The numbers of people that are now joining Endava, more than 200 new joiners each month, every month. And the fact that we've been able to do that in this fully remote environment, onboarding people into the company, giving them a career and an experience that they wouldn't have if we weren't there, I find that hugely encouraging and gives me huge optimism for our future.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's worth saying that that's purely organic growth. That's excluding all the mergers we've been doing as well. So incredible. It's been a tough year, nonetheless. On a personal level, how has the world of work changed for you in the last year?
Yeah, on a personal level, I think I used to think about my commute to and from the office in London. It would take me about an hour and a half to get to London and to get home again. And I used to really value that time, the ability to compartmentalize things, to process things in my head so that when I got home, I could be, dad, husband, friend, without some of those distractions, perhaps of work. Now I just walk out a door and I need to be in that same frame of mind, or indeed, that door often gets opened and the children come into me. So I find that, the biggest change for me is how have I had to adapt to create the right space for me to process things without impacting on my family life, as I leave work and go and be dad or husband. But we've all had to adapt in that way. Right now, I'm sat in my son's bedroom because it's the only room I can get good Wi-Fi. I've got a drum kit behind me here. I've got piles of clothes of a teenage boy all around me. So it's definitely been a those areas of distinctive home and work life have been smashed together.
What do you think will change for our people post-pandemic?
Remote working and building teams across locations is going to be key for our future. But so is office working, right? So the times to come together in offices, to work together as teams, to focus on building solutions around specific problems, to build innovation. It's very hard to do that fully remote. So I do think there will be a really important space for Endava offices in future, whether it's 1 or 2 days per week for teams to come together, for communities to come together and share things. What we're trying to build is distinct and unique as a place of work. We don't just want to be like any other employer. We want to be distinct in how we build a culture built on our core purpose. The role of leadership in the future of work is really important too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, we've both been working on the vision for the future of work and a plan for that. So watch this space for more communication on that topic as we look to come out of this pandemic. Well, hey, David, thanks for joining us today to share some thoughts and talk to you soon.
Thanks, Rob.
So thanks everybody for sharing your thoughts on this video today. It was great talking to you all about your thoughts on the last year and what an unusual year it's been. I actually had COVID back in late December, early January, and it was a horrible experience. I was quite ill with it and it took me a few weeks to recover. So I know it's a very serious illness and we need to do everything we can to keep our people safe. I'm looking forward to getting back to a more normal way of working and getting back to our offices and seeing all of the Endavans again. But I think the world of work is changing and has changed, and we've heard about that in some of the talks today. What I want Endava to be is the greatest place to work. I want it to be an environment where everybody feels included and engaged and enjoys the experience. So we're putting a lot of thought into that and what the world of work will look like after this pandemic. Please do get in touch with me or anybody on the team if you have any concerns or any ideas. And I look forward to talking to you all again soon. Bye.